What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today we're going to talk about The Institute Season 1. This aired on MGM Plus, and it does have audio description in case you're needing that. It was narrated by Roy Samuelson, and I thoroughly enjoyed the track. I actually enjoyed the series too. It's based on it's one of those Stephen King adaptations, which we're getting a lot of, and we're about to have like The Long Walk is about to hit theaters, and then we have Welcome to Derry, which HBO Max is putting out later. So we're just never going to stop adapting Stephen King, which I like a lot more than the endless stream of Harlan Coben novels. I don't understand it. Like, I feel like a couple of them, but I don't understand why like his entire uh like list of books. We stopped adapting John Grisham for some reason, and he still has a bunch of books that have never been adapted. And I've read some of them, and they're better than some of the Harlan Coben shit that I've been had to sit through. But anyway, The Institute. So, yes, this is sort of a horror series. I mean, it has horror elements to it, but it's not like exclusively horror. It's definitely more like science fiction than anything else. So it's not trying to necessarily scare you, and it's not pervasively gory, but it does have gore within. Like, there are some really intense scenes, especially in the finale. So yeah, there are moments absolutely in this, but otherwise, I would say it leans more science fiction if I had to pick a genre for it. Um, what is The Institute? Good God. I can't imagine I actually have to explain this series to somebody. So it's set in a world where people have things like telepathy, telekinesis, and something else, which is more of a spoiler, but whatever. Well, I'll leave that alone. There's a third thing. But TK or TP, and you can have both, by the way. It's possible for you to be an adept at both. And kids who are end up getting abducted by this shady clandestine organization, and they're taken to this secret government program. So we start off with Luke, who's played by Joe Freeman, and he's sort of kidnapped and brought into this facility, and there are already some other kids there, and they're working on their powers. And Luke is really skeptical of the whole thing, probably more so than anyone else who's there. Although, as we stay there and learn more about the kids, we learn some other of the kids that are there. There's notably, we have Nikki, we have Georgie, and we have Kalisha, and then Avery comes in. He's the next one to join the kids along the line. Those are sort of like the core ones out of the group. Uh, and yeah, that Nikki's definitely like onto it. Like he realizes that what they're doing is probably not as promised, but they show up there. Mary Louise Parker is running the facility and says, hey, this is just for a short period of time. You have these abilities, and what we do is we help you hone them, and you help us save the world, and then you get to go home. And, that's it. But in the meantime, he's not allowed to talk to his family, which is really sketchy. And so Luke is constantly on the lookout for these things. There are these other faces and other people walking around who also run the facility. There's a doctor that does most of the experiments. There's a Mr. I forget his name, but he's sort of like the co-head with Mary Louise Parker, who feels like the government official. That guy reminded me a lot of Hugo Weaving in The Matrix. Like, every every time he spoke, I kept wanting him to go, Mr. Anderson. I was like, please just do it. Please give somebody the last name of Anderson in this film so that in the series so that I can hear that. So I just wanted him to do it. Mr. Anderson. So, yeah, it's if that doesn't give you Matrix vibes listening to this guy talk for 10 episodes or 8 episodes or whatever it was, I don't know what will. I was getting such Matrix vibes from him. So, and so that's who's running the institute, and we see sort of that play out, and the tests that they have to undergo, and then they have like a front half, which is where they're in to start with, and then they go to the back half. What happens in back half? I don't know. It's a secret until they get back there, and then they find out. Is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. So weird use of Gorky Park in this, by the way. Just as a sidetrack, as a reference. We also have Ben Barnes is sort of another main character in the show, and he plays a night knocker who was going to go to a different job, but then he kind of ends up driving up to, you guessed it, Maine, where the series takes place. The thing that I love about Stephen King is that he could write any show. He could write any book, any novel, and that fucking thing will take place in Maine. He could he could have written Shogun in feudal Japan and somehow it would take place in Maine. Like, there would be a part of it that would be in Maine. Like, there'd be somebody who's from Maine, something from Maine. All of his shit is always in Maine. If you're ever watching a show and it's vaguely science fiction and it's in Maine, it's either written by Stephen King or somebody is paying some heavy homage to Stephen King. So we're in Maine again, and Ben Barnes goes up there to be a night knocker, which feels like an old-timey thing, but I guess it's still a thing where he's like it's a small town in Maine, and he's sort of like the night policeman, basically like a sort of like a security guard. He doesn't carry a gun because, well, he doesn't want to, and you'll figure out why by the end of the 8-episode run as to why he's has an aversion to weapons, and he kind of just wanted to work in this sleepy town, and do the work as is. But yeah, I think this was an effective show. It builds out its lore over the course of 8 episodes pretty well. Not quite. I haven't been as impressed with a show in terms of lore since I'm watching From. Like, talk about a show that asks a bunch of questions without ever with an absolute abject refusal of answering any of them. It's when you start watching From, you're like, I'm never getting any answers, am I? It's just like, but it's kind of impressive how they're able to keep building lore and keep that mystery going. With the Institute, yeah, you get more answers, and by the end of season 1, you actually kind of know what's going on. So season 2 of the Institute is going to be interesting because I don't know really where they go from here. So that's enough. I want to talk about a couple spoilers because they're sort of like related to the audio description, and maybe I didn't quite catch it, or maybe the show just isn't written well enough. One of two things. So at the end of everything, basically we're left at a point where we're headed for season 2 is Luke manages to essentially collapse the institute at which he lives in. And I do mean that literally. I mean, his power, they find out that when they unite and they're so strong together that they're able to their powers become stronger. So like at one point they actually lift the institute off the ground and then it like crashes down. So basically they destroy everything. And so he's shown with like his core friends. So like Nikki, Kalisha, and Georgie are shown being introduced to Ben Barnes, the other good guy, and they've teamed up and everything. I'm like, but what happened to the other kids? Like, where did they go? Because they're talking about like, oh, we got to get out of here. I'm like, didn't they? Because they were escaping with the kids from Gorky Park. So where did those kids go? You have more than 4 kids that you have to take out of here, and you have one car. Did we just conveniently forget about, or did I miss a scene? Did they all like trip and fall inside? Are the kids from Gorky Park not allowed to leave the facility? I don't understand. I'm a little confused as to what happened to those other kids, because I think they got out, but at the same time, I think we just have unrealistic expectations about where to go next from this group. So, like Iris and the rest of them. I'm not really sure why Avery felt like he needed to make the choice he made. But yeah, I mean, I didn't see the result of what Avery chose. Because, I don't know why he couldn't have left. There wasn't enough of there are a couple things that happened in the finale where I was like, I don't think you made the case for that. So, I like the show and then the finale. And then there's also like weird shit, like Mary Louise Parker doing like self-harm to herself in the show. And you're just like, why? I don't think that's ever answered. I think that's just something she does, but we don't know enough about her to ever know why she does that. But I guess she'll be around for season 2. Although we do see her higher up guy calls in for a burn team, burn squad, whatever, to come in and clean out the area. I don't know where they're going to go for season 2, but I definitely had some questions at the end of the series where I was like, I feel like we didn't cover that, and audio description of the series didn't cover it. So there were a couple of things that left me a little cold. Yeah, the series is not, I'm not going to say it's perfect, but it was entertaining, and I did like watching all 8 episodes and chugging along through the show. So that's The Institute. And do I recommend? I do recommend it. I think it's an interesting way to explore Stephen King. Because if you get to do it episodically, you really get to go into more of his book, and that's what people seem to love are his books and the depth of the characters. Although sometimes he's got some weird shit in his books, because there was like, the cocaine era. So some of his books actually have some really weird shit in it that's better to be cut out, and then not included in the movie, like the orgy we keep skipping every time we adapt it for film. So yeah. So not everything needs to make it onto film. Not everything was a great idea to begin with. But in general, it's hard to sometimes pare his book down to like 2 hours. And then you get just like shitty movies like Cujo. It's just like, this movie doesn't work. But would Cujo have worked as a limited series? Maybe. If it followed more along the lines of the actual book. So, and was made by somebody more competent. Yeah, sure, whatever. But The Institute, I like it, not quite as much as I liked From, but these are good shows that are giving you reasons to check out MGM Plus, at least if you're thinking about shifting around your subscription services or adding one or whatever. There's some good content on MGM Plus. Anyway, The Institute. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. I like the show, so I'm excited to see a second season. I don't think it's the best show on television. Not arguing for Emmy consideration. I wish From was considered for the Emmys. I think From is excellent, but yeah, I don't need Emmy consideration for The Institute. But I am very glad that it's been renewed for a second season, because I want to see where this continues to go. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you guys on the other side.